Coming up next on our End Zone Preview Show, Day 1 tonight previews 1A and 2A. 1A North is shuffling up. We'll tell you who's moving in, who's moving out. 2A North, it's been Calhoun Cities the last 2 seasons. Do we have a new team jumping into the fray? And Region 4 2A, the SEC West of high school football. Who's in, who's out? We'll tell you more about it coming up.
The WCBI End Zone Preview Show, brought to you by WCBI Sports Medicine, Itawamba Community College, Carl Hogan Toyota, and Max South.
Preview show presented by WCBI Sports Medicine. I am Robby Donoho. Packed night of high school football. We're going all through 1A and 2A. Going to be a lot of good stuff throughout the next 30 minutes. And obviously, we want you to interact with us. So get at us on our Twitter page at WCBI Endzone. Let us know your picks. We're talking 1A and 2A. With the guys to my right here, Adam Gore, by the way, it's his birthday today. It's your 59th birthday?
58th.
58th, okay.
Close.
Kidding. And Braden Bishop on the other side. These guys host the Miss98 Scoreboard Show this year. Guys, early impressions of what to expect from 1A and 2A this year.
There's going to be a lot of changes this year. You're going to see some teams that have traditionally been good, maybe having to rebuild, and some teams that, may have not made the playoffs, kind of getting to make a chase at seeing some unfamiliar territory they haven't been used to over the years.
Braden, your early impressions.
I think one of the biggest things are going to be kids stepping up from last year to this year. Maybe a lot of the reign of people leaving and maybe some junior and sophomore classes of last year getting to play a little bit more this year. I think that's going to be the biggest thing, especially in the small schools.
Yeah, Region 1, 1A, it's pretty different this year. A couple new teams. Region 3, 1A stayed the same, and obviously Region 2 in the north has 2 of the top teams no longer there anymore. We'll talk more about that when we return to our End Zone Preview shows. A lot of good stuff to come. Is 1A North wide open? Well, for right now, it is. We'll talk more about that, but there are some teams in the South that are going to contend. If there's a team that's a favorite, it's Smithfield. The Seminoles bring back a whole load of talent. We'll see what they look like for this upcoming season. But there are area challengers. Coffeyville's still going to be very good. Hamilton in that mix. Nanawoya, Noxapater. We'll talk about it all when we come back.
Touchdowns, tackles, and Toyotas. See it all on the WCBI End Zone Game of the Week. Brought to you by Carl Hogan Toyota.
Watch your winning team on the end zone and you'll see our winning team too. Each week, one of the stars from our Toyota lineup will be on the road and on the field.
Come see us at Carl Hogan Toyota and we'll put you in the end zone. We're going to have a great season. You have one too. We'll see you there.
Welcome back to our End Zone Preview shows here on WCBI. Diving into Class 1A first off, we're going to go region by region with our area teams. We start off in Region 1, 1A. The team that won it last year was Coffeyville. The Pirates were dominant, then ran into a tough team in St. Aloysius in the playoffs. Now they come back. Chris Thigpen, new head coach. You like what you see so far?
I do. I think Coffeyville's going to be another one of those teams that has a lot of young talent that's going to come into the spotlight this year. So I think they're going to be another team that's going to be in the chase for that division championship.
And a lot of seniors that graduated last year. One of those, Antavius Moody, ran for 2,000 yards last season, and Javon Dudley was in that mix as well. Do you like Coffeyville to win this division again?
I do. They're a heavy rushing team, and that's going to make it pretty interesting. But you do also mention that they've lost some players too. New coach bringing into the mix. You sometimes see new head coaches with some new personalities and bringing out new events in kids' lives. And this could be Coffeyville another year and just reloading again.
Seems like they always get to the playoffs and then they stub their toe on someone. They have all the talent in the world, but whenever they get in the playoffs, turnovers seem like they become the big problem with them.
Yeah, they kind of ran roughshod through competition last year, so that may have been part of the problem there where they didn't see the same level of competition they may have been able to see last year going into the playoffs. So I look for that to be something they focus on this year, taking care of business, finishing the job.
If there's a team that is going to challenge for Coffeyville from this division, I think it's pretty obvious it's Smithfield with everyone they have returning. The Seminoles have their quarterback coming back, top 4 athletes. D. Moore, Wesley Greer, a lot of good talent, a lot of good-looking players out there.
Absolutely. Go ahead and say it now. Fear the Spear.
Fear the Spear. You like that?
I like it. Smithfield's going to be the team this year. I think they've got they got the experience last year in baseball, so now they've got the taste of winning, and they want to do it a lot more. And this is a Smithville team that's really coming of age. I look for Smithville to, if not make a run for that division, end up at the championship game.
Braden, your thoughts on Smithville?
Good community, too. They've got some returning key starters that are going to be on that team. Blake Comer, he's going to lead it and do exactly what he's been doing, especially what he did last year. I like Smithville, especially in our area.
Yeah, I think Smithville's a good team, and I think Blake Comer, we talked to Chad Collins before the season. They wanted to get the passing game back. They struggled throwing the ball last year, so I think 7-on-7s have helped them a lot this year. Teams that maybe are in the division, by the way, West Lowndes joins this division this year. Teams that maybe could jump up and be a challenger in this region this year.
You know, I like Hamilton. You know, they got a new head coach this year. They're a team that can compete on this level. So I feel like they've got enough athletes to come out and make something happen in this division. So that could be a very dark horse when you take a look at Hamilton this season.
They have Keyshawn Hurd back. What Hamilton or another team that jumps off for Region 1?
You know, especially with the division, the way it sets up as far as playoffs go, there's going to be a team who doesn't necessarily have an extremely large winning record that will probably get in. And I mean, I think that there's going to be improvement in Vardaman this year. They've had a really tough last two seasons, and there's a lot of room for improvement. And even if that's 1, 2, 3 games, that's a great improvement for Vardaman Rams.
I think they have a lot of potential. They didn't win a game last year, but Larry Gann continues to stress that this team continues to get better and better. And, they may not be the Vardaman of old, but they're going to be very competitive, much more competitive this year, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's what he's installing in this group. He had a young group of kids come in, but he's installing that winning attitude, winning on the field, winning off the field, winning in the weight room, the little things that can get this team back to where they once were.
A big change this year in 1A North is you no longer have St. Aloysius or St. Joe's Greenville. Those were two teams that were expected to be in that mix. And now we go to 1A South, no longer has Cathedral, a team that was bringing back everyone from last year's team except the quarterback who happened to be in Louisiana for some reason. But 1A South, French Camp, Noxapater, Nanawayo seem to be the 3 area teams that are going to be challenging for the division this year.
Yeah, and I feel like French Camp's going to be one of the teams that could be in the top. They return a lot of guys. They've had success in the past few years, so some of these players that were younger saw the leadership that was there in front of them, so I really feel like French Camp had their rebuilding year, if you will, but now can get right back in the mix.
Luke McKnight, top 5 rushers back, 4 or 5 top tacklers. Really, the only big guy they lose is young Weck, who's a guy that played both ways for him. They only graduated 7 seniors, and Coach Nathan Wright tells us all the time, he doesn't really know what team's going to show up every year because they get different guys to come into the academy and start taking classes there. But Nanawayo is a team that, even though you lose Jamalo Smith and lose a ton up front, you still bring back your quarterback, you still bring back a freshman that ran for over 1,000 yards last year, and then you have Noxapater on the other side of town, on the other side of the county, that's pretty darn good as well. Nanawayo, Noxapater, who would you favor in the battle this year?
I like Nanawayo. I mean, they have 4 seniors, which kind of puts up a question mark, but they got 11 juniors too. So with that, again, I focus again on that junior class. A really good football team has to have really strong seniors, but that junior class has to start making some noise, and other people will follow.
Don't sleep on Noxapater this year. They struggled last year, didn't make the playoffs for the first time since 2009, but Vontae Woods and Keontae Daniels are 2 really talented football players.
And one thing they have, and it really works well in 1A, is speed. Speed kills on this level, and that's going to be one thing you're really going to see shine for Noxapater this season.
And 1A South, you no longer have West Lowndes. We'll mention them really quickly here. Their jump up to 1A North, Anthony King said, it's more of a challenge for them, but also maybe better competition down at their level, I would say.
Yeah, I would say it's going to be one where they can get in the mix, they can compete, and they can maybe not make the playoffs, but keep somebody up from making it, or they can find a way in.
We'll make our predictions for Class 1A coming up later on in the show. We didn't even touch on Hollandale Simmons, a team that's jumping down from 2A. They made it nearly all the way in Class 2A last year. They're jumping down to 1A this year, so we'll keep an eye on them. But we'll talk predictions, all that stuff later on the show. If you want to let us know your predictions, follow us on Twitter at WCBI Enzo. Let us know for 1A. We're going to 2A when we come back. A lot of good stuff going on in Class 2A this year. There happens to be a region that's just absolutely loaded. But the team that's been winning that region is Calhoun City. They made the state championship the last 2 years and ran it a big bad basket. Third time the charm. By the way, Region 4 2A, appropriately named 4 Advanced 2 at home. That's how the playoffs work this year for the region. Who's staying at home this year? Not easy to pick. And the North's best in 2A, they got a lot of good teams. Baldwin, Manatee, and East Union's a big story. We'll talk about it all when we come back. Back here on our End Zone preview shows presented by OCH Sports Medicine. Also, all of our great sponsors behind us, you can see right there. One of those is Itawamba Community College. This guy works there.
Yes, a great school.
A great school to go to. So we appreciate all of our sponsors joining us on the End Zone this year. In Class 2A, it's been Calhoun City's class the last 2 years. I'll ask you straight up right now, is it Calhoun City's class again this year?
No.
It's not.
It's not, and this is a Calhoun County guy telling you that as well. So
do not send him text messages, people.
Yes, no, please don't. Look, Calhoun City's good. They lost a lot up front on the offensive line, and in this league or in this division, you have got to be physically tough up front. So I really think this is going to be East Webster to lose this year. East
Webster. So Calhoun City, no. East Webster, yes. What do you think?
Oh, I mean, I'm not going to argue with Adam too much because basing on Jamboree stuff. East Webster is going to be good, really, really good. And with that being said, East Webster's they're always going to be a complete team in 2A. Jack Wilson, you're going to see a lot of tweets about that kid.
A lot of Jack Wilson tweets this year, yeah.
Great kid, great athlete, and East Webster could make some noise.
They're a good team this year, and that region is 4-2A. It's appropriately named because 4 advance to the playoffs. 2 stay at home. We'll talk more about the playoffs here momentarily. So Calhoun City and East Webster, I think we're pretty convinced that those are going to be the top 2 teams in that division, or are we? Is there another team like a Bruce or a Eupora that
I think it's a 3-dog race. I think Bruce is going to get in the mix this year. They've reinvented themselves, I guess you can say. Mm-hmm. They learned a lot from last season. They got a lot of key guys coming back. They're going to be a very more physical football team. That's one thing that they wanted to match up with this year is the physicality and the strength it's going to take to be able to get through this division. So that's one of the big things they've done this off summer is worked on working out, getting more physical. So I think the Bruce Trojans are going to be a dark horse in this race.
We saw Bruce hit their stride last year, and James Ray said, they started playing their best football at the wrong time, which was right at the end of last season. Then you run into Calhoun City, and no one's going to beat Calhoun City at that point. But a team that is jumping down from, stepping down. You don't jump down, but you leap down from 3. I don't know why I keep saying leap or jump, but in 2A, Winona, a team that was 3-9 last year. They bring back a lot of guys up front. What about a team like Winona jumping into the top 4?
Well, I think Winona can get into that just because of their defense. They play really good on defense. They're going to be really big up front, maybe bringing in a new quarterback here and there. But I'm kind of looking at Eupora a little bit. They might be that.
Eupora could be really scary this year, even with all the guys they lost last year. I think Trey Pittman and Lamonte Sal, you lose those 2 guys, that's not good, but they got a lot of athletes still there.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, to put it quite simply, 4-2A is just, it's fun. It's fun on the outside looking in. It's not fun inside if you're one of those teams and one of those that have to compete. But it's going to be a fun one to watch.
And we don't mention Okolona at all right now, but Okolona may have the best athletes out of any team in that division.
And I tell you, Okolona is always a scary football team. As you said, they've always got athletes. They can come out any night and beat you. So it could be like last year. I think all of us picked our top 4.
Okolona was up there.
And Okolona was up there. They didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, folks, if you're a fan of high school football, keep a very close eye from day 1 on 4-2A. This is going to be one of the best tales of the season to watch this how this division unfolds.
It's truly going to come down to who stays the healthiest.
Yes.
That's really what's going to come down to in this division because all these teams are very good. All right, so we talk all about that in 4-2A, but hello, team that called Baldwin that brings back a guy by the name of Duke Upshaw who seems to, from what we've heard, find himself, maybe reinvent himself a little bit. But he's been playing ever since he's been like an 8th grader.
Yeah. And the thing about it is he's going to have to do that. Baldwin's lost 17 players from last year's team. The thing about it is you look at a guy like Duke Upshaw, shows that they have young talent that can produce. So I still think Baldwin is the team to beat in this region.
Yeah, I don't really see anyone else out of this region. A team that obviously you always love because you're a hashtag phenom. Mantachi's got a pretty good team coming back this year.
Yeah, Mantachi is one of those teams that 2 seasons ago that they were really starting to enjoy a lot of success, and it was great. Last year they kind of got hit with some buzzsaw. They started out really, really hot, but that division right there, I mean, it's typically Baldwin's to lose, to be honest.
Really, yeah.
Mantachi's going to be a fun team to watch. They do some really good stuff on the field. The QB battle may be the biggest question mark right there, but nonetheless, a great team on the outside.
Staying healthy is going to be a key for them too.
They're not a deep team.
Yeah, so they don't have a lot of depth, but when you have a chant that says "Give them heck, Tachi Tech," you can't.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Yeah, Logan Pettigo is one of their best players coming back, 1,000-yard rusher, hit an injury patch last year. Hatley Newside no longer in this division, so now that sort of opens it up a little bit for teams such as HW Byers and Potsdam jumping in. Haven't mentioned East Union, which I think they're just going to be a story of its own, just of the terrible tragedy that happened. Yeah,
they're going to be playing inspired football this year, and unfortunately they're playing inspired football, But I think a team like East Union, they've gotten a taste for success, but now they just want to dig deeper, work harder for their fallen teammates. So, I say East Union may not win that division, but surely can get in the playoffs.
They're going to be a tough team to beat just because they're going to be so competitive out there.
Yeah, emotional teams are always ones to take a look on. Smithville, for example, look back a few years ago. Smithville played really well after the community endured that horrible tornado. But I think the East Union thing, the quarterback may be the biggest question mark. But emotional team, look out for them.
That quarterback is a question mark because he's a freshman. It's Cade Bell, but he does not look like a freshman. He's 6'1", 220. He's a really good baseball player, too. So East Union team to keep an eye on. Didn't mention Walnut, but Walnut, you lose Armani Linton. That's sort of most of your team there.
That's a tough loss for him. But at the same time, though, they've got some guys, once again, it's almost like the reoccurring theme, young players that have tasted success.
Yep.
So, I think this Walnut team could be the number 2 team out of this region because they do still have some pretty good solid talent.
So we'll talk more about our predictions. Obviously, we've been wanting to make our predictions here, but we're going to wait on that. We're going to tell you after the break who we like for out of 1A and 2A. In every region, we pick our state champions and all that good stuff, so don't go anywhere. Come on back. Back here on our End Zone preview show, classes 1A and 2A we were talking about tonight. And we've actually had a couple of predictions on Twitter already. Drake West says the 1A state championship is going to be Coffeyville and French Kemp. J.C. Dickinson thinks 1A is going to finish Coffeyville, Smithville, Hamilton, West Lowndes. So, who finishes at the top of Region 1A while we are on the subject? Who do you like?
I'm going with Smithville.
Okay.
I like Smithville to do that. And once again, fear the spear, baby.
Fear the spear.
That's what we're going with this year. Go ahead and make the hashtag, Brady.
I like Smithville too, but Coffeyville's they're one of those teams that they're just difficult to root against and definitely play against. So I'm going to go with Coffeyville.
I'm going to go with Coffeyville. I'm going to go with Smithville just because I think everything the Knowles have coming back this year, I really like them. Region 3 1A, who wins that division?
It's going to be between NOI and French Camp, so I'm going to have to go with French Camp. I think they're going to be able to. The Panthers are going to be able to come through and find a way to win it.
Okay.
French Camp's resume looks good. I'm going with Nanawaya as far as my pick goes. That's just, again, traditional sense as far as the speed that they have, and they're going to be good.
You seem to be going against the grain because I'm also going French Camp. So Adam and I together here. Braden no longer. He's on an island. Who's going to win the state championship in 1A over who? I'll tell you right now, I'm going to have Hollandale Simmons beating French Camp.
I'm saying.
Yes, I know. All you French Camp people, tweet at me like you did 2 years ago. I'm picking you to lose the state title this year. But Hollandale Simmons is coming down from 2A, and they are loaded. They have one of the best athletes in the state, Nero Nelson. So I'm taking Hollandale Simmons, even though they're not an area team, to win state title. So
I'm going with Simmons as well. I'm just going to stay with French Camp. I know we're probably not copying you on this one, and they won't like us too much. But, Simmons being competitive on 2A, then coming down this level, plus they're traditionally rich. So I'm going to go with Simmons winning 1A this year.
Who wins 1A?
2A to 1A is a lot easier from going from 1A to 2A. So I like Simmons, but I like Coffeyville, and Coffeyville will pull it out.
You love the Pirates.
They're doing it.
Hoist the colors, says Brendan Bishop. Yeah. By the way, Simmons, and I have them playing Smithfield in 1A North half final. I think French Camp's going to end up playing Noxapater. I think the Tigers have something to prove here. All right, 2A. Let's just say it right now. Who doesn't make the playoffs out of Region 4 2A? Who are the two teams left out?
Okolona and Winona.
So even Winona jumping? I said stay jumping. Coming down from 3A to 2A. Stepping down, yes. They're not going to make the playoffs.
I just say that region's too tough. I say Bruce, County City, East Webster, Eupora. If anybody gets upset out of that 4, I say it might be Eupora with Winona sneaking in there just because of the proximity of the rivalry. But I do say Winona, Okolona misses it this year.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue much with that either. I'm on the same wavelength as Adam. I think that's going to be your Winona definitely looking on the outside, and Okolona. Even though Okolona is one of those scary teams,
right?
They haven't had a great team the last 3 years. They could be amazing this year.
Yeah, I'm saying that Bruce and Okolona are going to be on the outside looking in from this division. And I don't know if you remembered last year, but I picked Bruce to win this division.
You did.
Yeah.
So prove me wrong, Trojans. Make sure that I'm incorrect. But I'm going to say Winona does end up getting in just because They played in the 3A last year. They've been through the the fire, and they know what it's like. So let's say Wynonna makes it. But who wins the division?
I'm going to go with East Webster.
The Wolverines.
Yeah, I would say I may not ever be able to go back into Calhoun County again, but I'm going to go with East Webster on this. But I'm probably about to make it up.
Okay. Who wins Region 4?
I said it earlier, the Jamboree showing for East Webster was really, really good. But, there's something about the Boneyard, cities.
Stick with Calhoun City.
Yeah, Calhoun City. We went there. You and I went there last
did.
year, and it was a great environment, and it's so strong that the football team is just the same. So City, let's do it.
Love my friends at Calhoun City. I'm gonna take East Webster just because I got to see them at that Jamboree. They look really tough and they look really good. They don't graduate too many seniors, and Jack Wilson's my boy, so I can't go against him. Baldwin's gonna win Region 1. I think we all agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's gonna come out of 2A North then to play for a state title?
Bruce.
Oh, you're on that Bruce train then.
I'm going with Bruce just because of the strength they have up front on that offensive line. That's going to be key, and they're going to have a little bit more depth than some of these other teams. So I say Bruce may not win the division, comes out maybe second, third, and finds a way to win and head down to Jackson.
Yeah, Bruce. Well, they're going for Oxford this year. But Bruce is huge on the offensive line. Who out of 2A North?
Baldwin. 2 words.
Really?
Duke Upshaw. He's a senior. He's been playing
This is last
forever.
year. Yeah.
He's been holding it back for years, and he's gonna do well.
This is the year Baldwin finally makes it back. They're trying to replicate that state championship run they had. I have East Webster making it from 2A North. Is anyone going to beat Bassfield?
No.
Quickly?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, we're the same way.
No.
All right, we'll wrap up the show. Come on back on End Zone Preview Show. Tomorrow we will be into classes 3A and 4A. We talked about 1A and 2A tonight, 3A, 4A tomorrow, 5A and 6A on Wednesday. Make sure you get at us on Twitter. Let us know your picks at WCBI End Zone. We'll mention them throughout the show. These two knuckleheads will be coming back tomorrow talking all sorts of high school football. So we hope you enjoy the show tonight. Come on back tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll talk 3A and 4A. Until then, have a great night.